Hello, my name is Stephen Thomas with BizTalkGurus.com. Today we're going to take a look at content-based correlation in Workflow 4.0. Let's start off with a quick disclaimer. Everything you see here is based on pre-beta code from October 2008. Other code releases may not look or function the same as you see in this video. And the purpose of this video is to demonstrate concepts and not necessarily the best way to accomplish something. With that, let's take a look at what we're going to see and do. First off, we're going to create a variable in Workflow to use as our correlation handler. We're then going to use this variable inside a send and receive activity. And then we're going to set up xpath inside our send and receive activities to do content-based correlation. With that, let's jump into the code. You can see here I have open an existing solution. It contains a client, an order processing service, and a manufacturing service. For the purposes of this video, we're going to focus on the client and the order processing service. Let's take a look at the client, and you can see here a few write-line statements used to tell the user what's going on, and then you see a place order activity. And this is going to be sending a message out of this workflow into the order processing service. We should also note that this is a one-way message, so we will not be expecting a response right away. Now let's scroll down a little, and here you see a receive shape, and this will receive asynchronously a response from the order processing service. If we take a look at the properties here, we see can create instances is not checked. This way, when a message comes back in on this receive activity, it will not create a new workflow instance. The overall goal we're trying to achieve is for this response message to end up back inside the same client. Let's take a look at the order processing service, and this simply has a receive activity at the top, does some other processing in the middle, and then sends back an order confirmation to the client. Now this could be modeled as a synchronous response, but for purposes of this video, this is going to be done asynchronously. So if we take a look at the contracts defined here, we'll see that one way is set to true. And that is the same on all the contracts throughout these workflows. Let's go ahead and run this so we can see what happens right now. And you see here our three services have started. Let me separate these around a little. And here you see our client workflow. We're going to hit enter and start this. And you see we have placing an order, and then we're waiting for an order confirmation. If we come down here to the order processing service, we'll see here that it's already sent the order confirmation to the client, but we haven't received it. So now we're going to go back into our workflow and set up correlation so that our client will receive this response message from our orders processing service. We're back inside our client workflow now, and let's review what we want to accomplish. First off, we want to create a correlation variable. Then we want to use this correlation variable and define an xpath inside our send activity. And then we want to use the same correlation variable in an xpath inside our receive activity. This will create the content-based correlation. Let's start by creating our variable. We come to variables, add new variable. Let's call this order core for order correlation. And here we want to come down and do browse for types. Here we get our type picker window open. We'll use the search functionality to search for everything related to correlation, and I know what I'm looking for is inside the service model, and I want to select a correlation handle. Select OK and accept that variable. Now I want to come into our send activity, place order. I'm going to hit F4 to go to properties. And down here under section 4 is our send message correlation. I'm going to delete the existing blank correlation And here I'm going to select New. And here's where I put in the correlation variable. And we called it order core. Then I need to select which endpoint. And in this case, we only have one, send message. And now here in the box below that is where I can add my content-based correlation. To do this, I simply give it a name. In this case, I'm going to call it order ID query. And then I give it an xpath. In this case, it's going to be temp and then the variable name, which is going to be order ID. I'm going to expand this over a little so you can see what I've typed here. So we simply put in a name and an xpath. And just like that, I've set up correlation on the send activity out of our client. We'll close that. Let's scroll down to our receive order confirmation. F4 to go to its properties. Again, to point out that can create instances here is not checked. I'm going to do the same thing I did before. Delete the existing blank correlation. Create a new one. Put our correlation variable here, order core. Select an endpoint. Again, we only have one endpoint to select. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing I did last time and put in our xpath. We give it a name, and again it's going to be the same. Just so happens that the arguments are all called order ID, so they will look the same. And I tab out of that and exit that. And just like that, I've set up the response correlation on our receive activity. Now let's go ahead and run this and see if we get different results. Now that all our services have started, let me move the windows around here so we can see them easier. We're most interested in the client and the order service. This time I'll press enter. We're waiting for our order confirmation. And now you can see here we received our shipment confirmation. Let's take a look at what we've learned in this video. We saw how simple it was to set up content-based correlation using a correlation variable and xpath parameters. And we saw how we define these on both the send and the receive activities. Again, my name is Stephen Thomas with BizTalkGurus.com, and we'd like to thank you for watching our video on content-based correlation and Workflow 4.0.